8:37 now as we switch gears on this Thursday morning. Pinterest may be inspiring your kids' style, makeup, and hobbies, and the company just released their fall report, which lists the top styling trends, accessories, and food inspo. Malik Ducard, the Chief Content Officer of Pinterest, joining me now. Thanks so much for being with us.
So happy to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, not just kids, right? Because I have my Pinterest board up all the time, I have to admit. Talk about this latest report and the top trends that you guys found.
Yeah, so we just put out the latest fall trends report, and we're seeing a surge in a few things. So one is thrifting. Gen Z is our largest audience on Pinterest. Over 40%, or actually over 50% of our users are Gen Z. And as you know, Gen Z really love to lean into thrifting. They're finding deals. They're finding their own personal, unique aesthetic, and they're thrifting for things like vintage watches, vintage rings, and really finding styles that even go back. Classic preppy styles is an example of the types of things that they're looking for.
Yeah, and talk about that a little bit more, because that generation, I mean, they seem like they want to be unique. They don't want to have something that everyone else has. So talk about what else kind of led into that that generation kind of leading the charge in that.
Yeah, when Gen Z and really anyone comes to Pinterest, they are in sort of a posture of leaning in. They're looking to save ideas and inspiration that they want to do now, that they want to do later on, and they're creating their own collages and they're creating their own boards that really help to lift up the type of inspiration that they're looking for on the platform. You know, one of the features that we have on the platform are inclusive features. So Gen Z are able to really filter Pinterest by their interests. So hairstyles, hair textures, body size and shape, even skin tone filters. So Pinterest is really almost a mirror onto them and their communities, so they feel very at home on Pinterest.
Yeah.
And when you actually look at, well, what are Gen Z doing on the platform? What are they searching for? Where do they start their searches on the internet in general? 2 out of 5 Gen Z actually begin their internet searches on Pinterest, their entire internet search on Pinterest, because it's such a visual and dynamic platform.
And that kind of leads me to my next question too, because that is such a big group and demographic that uses Pinterest. So you guys have partnered with schools. Obviously, Gen Z, younger generations too, are still in school using this app. Talk about how you guys have partnered with some of the schools to launch this new feature to maybe help them lock in when it's time to be in school, and then use the app afterwards.
So we believe that there's a time and place for phones and for apps, and that's not in the classroom. That's not when they're in the learning environment. So we're really big supporters of phone-free schools, and we've supported local legislation, including right here in the DMV, around phone-free schools. We've also built into the app notifications. So if you're a student and you log into the app during school hours, we'll send you, a little, ping, a notification saying, hey, you know what, you should be in class. Maybe you should get back to class. I'm a dad of
just a gentle nudge,
just
right?
a gentle nudge. I'm a dad of 3 Gen Z, and there have been more than a handful of times where I've gotten a call in the middle of the day from let's say my youngest son. I'm thinking, like, should you be in class? So from a dad perspective, and also from an app perspective, we're really focused on that.
And I mean, I have notifications set too to kind of remind you on that screen time, and sometimes that's good. Just make you take a step back. All right, I want to ask you too, the latest report, some of the other fall trends, vintage preppy fashion, art deco interiors. Talk about what else you guys have found and some of your favorites.
You know, some of my favorites, aesthetic moods. So even colors like caffeine or cherry coated red are themes that we see. there's been a surge specifically around Gen Z around weddings. So Gen Z are really celebrating weddings using vintage rings. You know, Taylor got from Travis her vintage ring. We actually had that in our wedding report before that happened. And I'm not saying we had anything to do with that. But that type of sort of wedding aesthetic that's authentic and real. My wife and I just celebrated 25 years, and we were recently, thank you, we were recently looking at our wedding photos. Sharp, crisp, clear, in focus. With Gen Z, it's moody, it's kind of tony, it's out of focus. For Gen Z, out of focus is the new in focus.
Okay, and that's what they're looking for.
That's what they're looking for.
Thank you so much for the insight. We could talk about this all day. Appreciate you being with us.
Thank you for having me.